Everyone, welcome to the Tutorium in Intensive English at the University of Illinois at Chicago. I'm Jordan, and I'll be your grammar teacher. Module 1's grammar lesson is on the simple past with regular verbs. In today's lesson, we will look at some example sentences using the simple past, learn the grammar rules for the simple past, and practice with this concept. First of all, let's look at some sentences. Sentence 1, arrive. Rachel arrived at class at 9 a.m. Sentence 2, work. Trisha worked hard all weekend. Sentence 3, study. Katie studied linguistics in 2010. So there are a few things that I want you to notice about these sentences. First of all, I want you to notice the time markers. In sentence 1, we have at 9 a.m. In sentence 2, all weekend. And in sentence 3, in 2010. This tells us that all of these events happened in the past, before now. This also tells us that these events are finished. They are not happening currently. Okay. The second thing I want you to notice are the verb endings. So arrive becomes arrived with D. Work becomes worked with ED. And study becomes studied with IED. Why are they all different? Well, let's learn the rules. Rule number 1, if a verb ends in E, you add D. For example, like ends in E, add D, it becomes liked. Love ends in E, add D, it becomes loved. Smile ends in E, add D, it becomes smiled. Lastly, bake ends in E, add D, it becomes baked. Okay, not bad. Let's look at rule 2. Rule 2, if a verb does not end in E, you add ED. For example, play ends in Y, add ED, it becomes played. Cook ends in K, add ED, it becomes cooked. Smell ends in L, add ED, it becomes smelled. And start ends in T, add ED, it becomes started. Okay, easy enough, right? Well, there's rule 3. Rule 3 is a little bit harder. If a verb ends in a consonant and a Y, you remove the Y and it becomes IED. Okay, Well, first of all, what's a consonant? There's a note here. So vowels are letters like A, E, I, O, and U. But consonants are everything else in the alphabet. So, for example, carry. Okay, so we have to look at the letter before Y, R. R is a consonant. So we take out the Y, we add IED, it becomes carried. Copy. Look before the Y, there's a P. P is a consonant. So we take out the Y and we add IED. Next, apply. Look before the Y. L is a consonant. Take out the Y, add IED, applied. And fancy. Look before the Y. There's a C, consonant. C is a consonant. Take out the Y, add IED, fancied. Okay. Well, let's practice with some of these rules. Okay. So here's a verb, use. Remember, look at the ending of the verb. It ends in E. That's rule number 1. If a verb ends in E, add a D. It becomes used. Okay, change. Look at the ending. It ends in E. Again, rule number 1. Add a D. Changed. This one's a little different. Look at the ending. Is there an E? Nope. So we need to add ED. That's rule number 2. If there's no E at the end, add ED. Next, look. Same thing. It ends in K. Looked. So we add ED. Okay, this one's a little different. It's not an E. Okay, so that's rule number 1, right? Which one talks about Y's? Rule 3. All right, so let's think about rule 3. What do we need before the Y to change to IED? We need a consonant. What's the letter before Y? F. Is F a consonant? Yeah, it is. So we take out the Y and we add IED, satisfied. Remember, rule 3. Rule 3 is the hard one. Okay. Berry. Okay. Look before the Y. It's an R. Is that a consonant? Yeah, it is. So we remove the Y. We add IED. Buried. Okay, last one. Employ. Look before the Y. Is O a consonant? No, O is a vowel. So actually, this one follows rule 2. If you have a verb without an E, we just add ed, employed. Well, that's all for this module's grammar lesson. Thank you for practicing with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.